Welcome to the Claims Underground podcast with your hosts, Corey Locke and Troy Willis, where we help policyholders just like you understand your policy and how to navigate through an insurance claim. We advocate for homeowners as well as businesses when insurance companies won't pay. So if you're tired of getting the runaround and ready to find out what's really going on, then let's get down to business and learn from the insurance claims experts, Corey Locke and Troy Willis.
Hey, welcome. This is Corey Locke, public adjuster. I'm a public adjuster out here in California, and I've been a public adjuster for the last 9 years out of my total experience of almost 35 years now. This January makes 35 years as an insurance adjuster, working as an independent adjuster, large loss adjuster, and then finally as a public adjuster. So I just wanted to give you a little background on me and my co-host tonight, Troy Willis. Troy, please jump in and give us a little background on you.
Hi, my name is Troy Willis. I'm a licensed public adjuster. I'm a retired builder, expert witness, certified appraiser and umpire. I've been doing this for more than 30 years total. I advocate for policyholders and their insurance claims. And today we're going to talk about topics that will help you have a better understanding of your policy. So today's topic is understanding your policy. So we're going to start by throwing a few questions back and forth between Corey and I so we can help you understand the questions that you've been wanting to ask and now we can now answer for you. So this is kind of what this topic is about, is kind of answering questions that you don't know to actually have a chance to answer. So today we're going to start with asking that major question. What is our policies all about, and how do they benefit us as policyholders? So, Corey, let's start with the question of what is an insurance policy? Let's start with something pretty simple. What is an insurance policy for a home?
Policy is insurance policy is a contract. You're offering money for them to pay for perils that are covered under the policy in case they occur. If they don't occur, you're just paying them premiums every year. So annually, or maybe monthly, depending upon your agent setup, you will be paying a certain amount of money so that you are safeguarding your largest investment, which is your home. Or it could be your business, but most likely people are tuning in about their homes. So what the policy is an agreement. And you have no way to negotiate what's in that policy. You just have to pay money for additional endorsements to that policy. So at the very basic level, it's a contract. You're contracting together to take care of a problem if it should arise. If it never arises, you could be paying for premiums for 20 or 30 years, but it is an insurance policy in case something bad goes happen.
You know, I found in this industry over 30 years that most people don't read their policies. I mean, back in the day, they used to stick them in the drawer when we got them in paper. Now that they digital, it goes in the email box now. So they really don't read the policy. And it's important that they read their policy because you clearly stated one of the most important things is it's a contract. And we would always want to read a contract because what do we usually hear when they have a loss and they call us and they tell us this horror story about what's happened to them in their life? And the first thing you ask them was, did you sign anything? And they go, yes. Did you read what you signed? They go, no.
Yeah. The second thing is, did you read it? Well,
it's always no. Then you realize why we're here, to help you get out of the troubles that you just caused by signing those papers and never read the contract. This is a tough, strong, it's a tough industry to be in. And it's tough for these people who's policyholders because they're not in this industry and they don't quite understand the policy.
Thanks for listening to the Claims Underground podcast. We hope you enjoyed this segment. If you need more information on insurance policies, feel free to check out our website, www.claimsunderground.com. And remember, when the insurance companies won't pay, we're here to help. Until next time.
Doesn't specifically exclude. And we looking at the point when we're talking about the name risk, it's going to talk about everything it does. So talking to the people today, we want to kind of get into that difference of what more detail, I should say, an all risk would be for like some examples that we can explain to them. They may have had those problems already, but a better understanding of the way the policy normally interprets it for people. It's very confusing for people. So could you help us get a better understanding of what the difference of this all risk versus a name risk would be versus just a short version I gave.
Well, as we've dealt with most policies, homeowner policies, are going to be boilerplate, and they're going to be standard package policies, HO3 ISO policy, or it's going to be some sort of derivative of the difference in condition. We're seeing that out here in California, where the standard homeowner policy is now being split off for those people that live in the mountains and are in high fire risk. They're now having to split their policies in half. What was normally one big package policy, it's now being split into two policies. And it's similar to what people were dealing with on the East Coast. That would be either, you could have a wind policy, you could have a flood policy, you could have a policy for a difference in condition for everything else that's not talked about. What was traditional was an all risk policy. And what that is very, very specific coverages. You have a coverage for X, Y, and Z. When it says all risk, it means all the risks that we're saying. It doesn't necessarily mean everything under the sun. Under a named peril risk or a named peril policy, it's basically everything gets covered except for the things we name. So
I think that's a good example to help people get a better understanding of it, because the policy language can get confusing to many people when they get to reading it. And, sometimes, you get some calls in and they just don't know if it's covered, not covered, or even understand if they should file a claim or not. That's why I think it's important for people to understand exactly what they're walking themselves into. And if you read your policy, you'd understand a lot of this. It's one of the biggest problems in this industry I've seen in decades, that people do not read their policy. So, for those who don't read, we're going to make this simplified.
Well, what we normally run into is that when do you normally get a policy? Well, a lot of people just get their policies when they're ready to buy a house. It's one of those crucial things. You can't buy the policy, it won't clear escrow unless you have a policy in place. So they just run out because they're so frenzied to buy the house. And the last thing that they're being told by their agent or their escrow person is, hey, do you have a policy? Oh, well, hold on. Let me go find an independent agent. And then that agent sells them a policy, not quite knowing exactly what they got. They don't know if it's a replacement cost policy or an actual cash value policy, because that wasn't really that important to them at the time. They had to trust someone to get that policy. Otherwise, their escrow is not going to close. And that's the last time they think about it. And then that policy just keeps churning and churning and churning year in, year out. The mortgage company makes that payment and you're really not thinking about it. And then we have an event. And then you go, wait, I thought I was covered for that. Okay, so maybe we could back up and say, what is it you want out of your policy? What's the primary thing that you want from your policy? So if we ask the question, what do I want to insure and how much do I want it to be insured, that's probably the best thing that we could tell people out there. Hey, approach your policy like you would anything that's terribly important in your life. You wouldn't contract away your rights unless you understood it. So let's step back and say, I want to insure myself for the worst possible event. Maybe you're in a fire area. Maybe you're in a flood area. Maybe you're in an earthquake area. So define for yourself, what is the worst possible thing that could happen to my life and my most valued possession for finances? Guess what? If you're living near the water, I think the immediate thing that you need to consider is a flood policy. If you're out here in California and you're up in the Bay Area, Los Angeles, San Diego, if you're on a fault line, guess what, friends? You need to be looking at earthquake coverage. So you need to understand what those policies are.
Couldn't have been said better. We'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Until next time.
Until next time. Thanks again.
Thanks for listening to the Claims Underground podcast. We hope you enjoyed this segment. If you need more information on insurance policies, feel free to check out our website, www.claimsunderground.com. And remember, when the insurance companies won't pay, we're here to help. Until next time.